What's going on, guys? I have the patch 10.17 meta snapshot found on my website, bunnymuffins.lol/meta, as you guys already know. Unfortunately, there aren't too many changes from last week. There weren't too many changes in the patch, and there won't be in the next patch either in 10.18, and this is because of the World Qualifiers and the World Championships. So they don't want to change the game too much. Understandable, because all the pro players, they probably want to be practicing on the same patch and don't want to get like too surprised on the new patch. Because of that, unfortunately for the rest of the TFT population, we're going to be playing the same game we've been playing. But one thing we could take advantage of is that if we really practice a comp starting now, or even starting last patch if you're lucky, we can really master that to get that late season climb in order to hit the rank that you want by the end of the set. So with that in mind, let's get into the snapshot. So S tier, we have Mech, E-Girls or Star Guardians, Cybernetics. I think these three are super strong, and I'll get into why later. Protectors in A tier, Snipers, Rebel, Shredder, Blaster, Brawler, Battlecast. These are all really close together. You don't, maybe Battlecast might be in B tier, but Battlecast is the only comp I'd say which is borderline, but the rest of these compositions, very close together in terms of their strength. Battlecast you kind of have to get lucky with. If you don't get lucky with them, or if you don't play them very correctly, I wouldn't recommend going for Battlecast. 6 Blademaster and B tier Space Pirates, they're just really inconsistent, these two compositions. Like Battlecast, Blademaster, Space Pirate, just really inconsistent. Vanguard Mystic, situational, and you have to know what you're doing. Darkstar, a little situational as well. Comps I would avoid playing is Barbecue Rumble and Sorcerer Riven. Sorcerer Riven is never going to be good if Jin is good, so Jin is good. He's in Sniper. He's in Darkstar, and people just play him randomly in Protectors too, so yeah, as long as Jin's good, Riven's not going to be very good, so don't play these two comps. Even if you get them for free, you'll probably not do that well with them. So just ignore them for now. So S tier is Mech Pilot, the best comp still. They got like a couple nerfs. Titans got changed. I think Titans got, in some situations it's better, some situations it's worse. Too early to tell right now, but it's still a fine item on the Mech. Handed Justice got a small nerf, and the Mech got a couple of health and damage nerfs. One thing I really like to do is a dodge Mech build. I know I have Bramble Vest here, but it's okay. It's good in the early game. It's the best early game item, so it's like the safest thing to build in order to get to your Mech. So you don't hit your Mech with like 30 health. You'll have maybe 50 or 60 instead. So that's why the Bramble Vest is good. But as the game goes on, Bramble Vest kind of falls off. You'd rather have something like Titan's Resolve, dodge items, or like a Trap Claw, Shroud of Stillness, Quicksilver Sash, maybe even some damage items like Ionic Spark or something like that. But for the early game, Bramble Vest is good. So for the people who are saying like, oh, Bramble Vest isn't best in slot, in the early game, it's super good. It helps you get to your Mech much safer. So if you don't know how to navigate the early game, if you don't know how to navigate the mid game without the Mech, without getting lucky to hit the Mech, let's say, building the Bramble Vest in the early game is super strong and super easy way to get to this stage in the game. After that, you want to prioritize Victor items, Blue Buff, Shojin, Morello. These are the best items. You just need one item plus a Morello. So once you have either Blue Buff or a Shojin, just try to build the Morello after that. I go a little more into items down here. And also I have a how to play guide over here. But for the purpose of this video, since most people already have listened to this in the past, I'll just skip that for now. E-Girls, they're really good. Nico is just the best Warmogs abuser. So if you get Warmogs on our early game, you put it on Jarvan first, and then once you get Nico 2-star, you switch it onto Nico. You just need to run 2 Protector. You don't need to run 4 Protector. But it's just a really strong comp. You just fast 9 after that, hit Janna, put all the mana items on her. So Syndra's a really good item holder for Janna. So you could put all the like blue buffs, Shojins on Syndra, and then once you get Janna, sell the Syndra, put the items on Janna, play 6 Star Guardian, and Janna perma-CCs. Nico never dies because she's permanently casting her ultimate and gaining the Protector Shield, and then one of your guys eventually just kills the entire team. It's pretty hard to play if you don't have the Warmogs. If you get the Warmogs, it's really good. GA is another great option on Nico. But again, GA is like one of the best items on Nico, but in the early game, Ionic Spark's so good. In late game, Shroud of Stillness is so good. Warmogs is probably the best item on her. So that's why I don't include Guardian Angel here, but it's like a very good item. If I had to pick like a late game combination, it'd probably be like Warmogs, GA, and then anything else. But again, since Ionic Spark's so good in the early game, it amplifies the damage of your entire team. That's why I include other options here. Again, how to play it is down here, some of the requirements down there. So if you want more details, you could go ahead and check that out, or ask me on my stream at youtube.com/BunnyMuffins/live. Next up, we have Cybernetics. Super, super good if people are not playing Vanguards. If they are, you just built the Last Whisper, but if they aren't, you literally destroy the entire team so quickly. Thieves Glove is really good on Aurelia, but if you get Infiltrator Spatula, then you want to put that on her plus some damage items. They make great use of the utility items like Zephyr, Locket of the Iron Solari, not included here, by the way. Redemption's really good on Fiora. ZZ Rot Portal is pretty decent. Shroud of Stillness, of course, is really good. You get to your late game, play some Thresh, pull in some Urgots, have a great time after that. Really good on certain galaxies that give a lot of items, such as Treasure Trove, Galactic Armory, Super Dense Galaxy, and any galaxy that gives like a bunch of free items, this comp's going to be even better in. But that's it for S tier. Moving on to Protectors in the A tier. So this is similar to the Star Guardian comp. You want to find a way to fast 9. They do that through Jarvan with Warmogs instead of Nika with Warmogs, and then you end up stacking your Janna. A little more flexible on the items because you could use like an Ashe item holder with Shojin Runons or Shojin Rageblade. Rageblade can also go on Xayah. So you have like a bunch of different outs for your units in the late game because you're just trying to hit any good legendaries. Another great combo is the Fizz Echo combo. That one's probably my favorite actually, but Janna Xerath is also a really strong combo. And then just play like Lulu, Urgot if you hit him because he's Protector. You don't need to run 4 Protectors. You could run 2 Protectors. You could run 6 Protectors if you get a Protector Spatula for Aurelion Soul. So if you have like a Morello Namicon and you have a 2-star Aurelion Soul, go ahead and go for the Protector Spatula on like a late game Carousel because that's going to be really, really strong. Asoul will probably 1v9 the enemy team. Next up, we have the Snipers. A lot of people have been asking me about this comp, and I wouldn't force this comp every game. I talked to one of the best players for Astro Snipers, and he used to one-trick it, but he doesn't one-trick it anymore because he doesn't think they're that strong anymore. So just something to keep in mind. Only play it when you have a good start for it, or if you're on the Salvage Galaxy. They're really good on Salvage Galaxy because you get to remake all your items. This comp's super weak in the early game, so that weakness gets negated if you could just slam your items early game and then sell them all to get perfect items in the late game anyways. Because in Salvage Planet, you can, whenever you sell a unit with an item on it, you can like remake the item components because they fall off. Blue buff, really good on Teemo. Not 100% necessary, but it is probably the best item on him. Jhin uses any sword item. If there are a lot of infiltrators, go ahead and put a Guardian Angel on him. ZZ Rot's one of the best items in this composition. You want to go ahead and put that on Nautilus. Ionic's great on Wukong because he amplifies Teemo damage because he lowers the magic resistance of enemy teams that way. And Shroud of Stillness, always a good item, so just go ahead and put that here. You want to go to level 8 at 4-3, roll down. Try to find as many forecasts as possible. Run Karma and Bard, or Soraka and Bard. Either or is good. Karma's better against the infiltrators because she gives a shield. And then, like, you don't run Gnar until level 9. And then with the Bard in at level 8, you actually get to level 9 pretty quickly, so you'll be able to put in Gnar soon enough. Once you get the Gnar, replace the Bard, put in another Mystic, and then you'll be good to go from there. Rebel's really good. Gangplank, he got nerfed slightly, but he's still pretty strong, as long as you get a Guardian Angel on him. So Guardian Angel plus ability power, you're going to be doing really well. What I like about this build is that they make use of all the items except for tier. So if you get a lot of tiers, I wouldn't go for Rebels. But if you get a lot of rods and swords and bows, it's really good because Jinx can use all the swords and bows. She could also use the defensive items by making a red buff. And you also need some defensive items for GPUs such as Guardian Angel. Ionic Spark's a pretty good utility item, so it's a pretty, like, this comp makes great use of all items, similar to the Mech build. Not as flexible on the items because, like, you really need the GA, but in terms of, like, using all the components, they have, like, a use for everything except for the tier. Next up, we have Shredder Reroll. I personally have a love-hate relationship with this composition. It either goes really well or really poorly for me, so I do try to avoid playing it, but it is really good if you know what you're doing. The way I was taught by Xayah One Trick was pretty much open for early game, get perfect item Xayah, get like 50 or 60 gold at 3-1, and then start slow rolling for a reroll Xayah. Get Xayah 3, then go fast 8 or fast 9 after that in order to fit in 6 Blademasters and the 2 Protectors, Jarvan and Rakan. Next up, we have Blaster Brawler. Similar to the Rebel build, GA Gangplank, AP on Gangplank, a bunch of Jinx items on Jinx, and you're good to go. This composition spikes a little harder in the mid game, falls off a little more in the late game compared to the Rebel build. Just one thing to keep in mind. So mid game, it's so strong because the health buff from 4 Brawler is like, no one does that much damage in like stage 3 and 4. So that's why they're really good during that stage. Next up, we have Battlecast. Reroll Battlecast. You want to go for Alawi 3, Graves 3. Those are the two most important units to slow roll for. You pretty much slow roll at level 5, similar how you would with playing Xayah, except you want to put items on your Cogmob. And you could go for Cogmob 3 if you want, but you rather go to level 8, level 9, get Urgot, play 6 Battlecast. If you get a bunch of Battlecast spats, go ahead and go 8 Battlecasts. Really good as well because it does like a ton of damage each proc. So next up we have the B tier, 6 Blademasters. It's a great comp if you hit everything. It sucks if you don't. So it's like a 1st or 8th comp. If that's what you like to play, go ahead and play this comp because you will go 1st or you will go 8th when doing this in general. Go for a lot of bows. Bows really good on Master Yi. RFC is good on Zed too if you have like 6 bows. So you could put like 4 bows on Yi for these items and then like 2 more bows on Zed so that he gets another RFC. Master Yi can use like a bunch of different items too. He could use Hat, he could use Jeweled Gauntlet. Couple of options for him. But next up we have the, oh yeah, one thing to mention, there's also the build that's like popularized by Mismatched Socks. He recently qualified for the World Championships from North America. And he goes like Static Shiv on Xayah in the early game. And he says it does the same amount of damage as Master Yi 2-star with the 6 Blademaster buff. So that's one thing you could look for as well. It kind of curbs the early game a little bit for you, so it makes that a little more manageable when you build the Static Shiv. The only downside is that you use a bow, and you want to put as many bows on Master Yi as you can, but sometimes getting the early game power spike more than makes up for the loss of the bow. So you got to make that decision in your games. Next up, we have Space Pirate. This is a really inconsistent composition. It's another 1st or 8th composition. You either hit the Gangplank on your level 8 roll down, or you don't, and you get 8th. So if you hit Gangplank, you're going to be able to farm a lot of items during stage 4, and then pretty much just snowball the game from there because you have many more items than other people. Not much else to say here, just fast 8, try to hit Gangplank, keep all the pirates in the early game to build up your econ. Next up, we have Vanguard Mystic. Super like situational build. You have to switch your builds out like throughout the entire course of the game. It's a little tricky to play. I don't really recommend it to that many people, but if you one trick this composition, I'm sure you could do okay with it. Lastly, we have Dark Star. Played very similarly to the Protector build, but you need to get items for Shaco. So if you get like a lot of tiers, a lot of rods, go ahead and go for Star Guardians. Go ahead and go for the like regular Protector build with all the legendaries. But if you get a lot of swords, maybe you could try the Dark Star build. So say you get a Warmogs on Jarvan, then you start building Shaco items with the 2 swords that you got from like Krugs, for example. It could be a way to go from there. I think it's generally a little weak because a lot of people are playing around Infiltrators right now, perhaps maybe a little too much. But that's just because in the past few patches, Infiltrators have been super strong, so people probably have like PTSD from getting Shaco'd every single game. So that's why this comp's a little weaker, just because people are positioning around it every single game. That's pretty much it. Avoid the C tier comps. I have a bunch of like item recommendations down here which you can check out, but I'll try to keep the video short. I will probably not see you guys next week for the updated meta snapshot, just because like not too much is going to change, but I'll be back for 10.18 for sure. I might make a video next Friday. Let me know in the comments if you really want like an update to this. I don't think many things will change. It's kind of just like flavor of the week, flavor of the day, so that will probably affect the meta. But if you really want an update, leave a comment down below and I'll try to do one if there's enough people want it. But yeah, that's it for me. I'll be streaming this weekend, hopefully soon today after I release this video. And of course on Saturday and Sunday, I'll try to start at 3 p.m. US Eastern time. I might start a little earlier, maybe a little later, but we'll see. Also, merch store coming soon, so get ready for that. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to share and subscribe, and of course smash that like button. Each like is an LP I gain before the next video.